Hello everyone, my name is Alyssa Francis, and today I'll be talking about different teaching strategies for linguistics. In particular, I'll be talking about three teaching strategies that can be used when teaching phonology, orthography, and pragmatics. The three approaches will mostly focus on the acquisition view, in which the goal is to enable students to use language for a variety of academic purposes. These activities will oftentimes have students work in pairs or small groups to be able to understand, speak, read, and write the language. This is opposed to the learning view, in which the goal is to produce students who speak and understand language through engaging in oral drills and written exercises. Phonology is the study of distinct, meaningful sounds of language. Direct and explicit instruction can be used to teach phonology. As a school psychologist in a counseling session with students, I can use meaningful activities that involve the use of language. So what's going on with their day? How are they feeling? So using language to convey ideas that are important to them. When doing this, if I notice that a student is having trouble pronouncing a particular word, I can either provide focused lessons on the specific sounds that are causing confusion, or more likely I would consult with a teacher or even the speech language pathologist regarding the need for such a lesson. The socio-psycholinguistic view of phonology states that readers use both visual and sound knowledge and knowledge of correspondence between sound and letters to understand phonology. So as a teacher, an activity that I might use would be phoneme categorization. So before beginning this task, I would create a triangle on the floor and out of masking tape or something similar. So it would be a large triangle, large enough that students can fit on the inside and also stand on the outside. And then I would have cue cards, and the cue cards would have a picture on one side, and on the back of the card it would have the label of that picture, so what it is. So you'll see the first one, it looks like a giraffe, a zebra, maybe a lion, and on the back of that it would say animals. So ideally for this activity, I would have a group of 4 students, and I would give each of them a cue card, and I would ask the students to work as a team to decide which picture, or more importantly, which word does not fit based on the phonemes. So before doing this, it would probably involve a lesson or an example on phonemes and what they mean, how we understand differences between them. So I might give an example such as, tell me which of the following words is not like the others. So for example, fit, fun, cat, or fan. And I would use that activity or that example to make sure that they have an understanding of what I'm asking. So the students, once they decide which card does not fit, which word is not like the others, that card and student would go to the middle of the triangle while the others stand on the points. Students would then be asked to explain why they chose the one in the middle. If the students accurately choose the dissimilar word, it demonstrates that they've mastered or they have a good understanding of phoneme categorization and the differences between phonemes. This is a good activity because it gets children working together, it gets them talking, it gets them thinking, and it gets them moving a little bit. Orthography includes all aspects of writing, including spelling, punctuation, spacing, and special features of writing. One activity that can help foster the development of orthography is creative writing, and specifically pair response groups. So in doing these types of groups, the primary focus of the group should be the creative writing, and this will allow students to feel comfortable and write down and create stories that they naturally on their own. So in the pair response groups, I would have the students first create a story in which they might go through the whole process of pre-writing, drafting that authors talk about in our textbooks. And then I would have them present their writings to their group of 4 or 5 students. This gives students an environment in which they can try their writing in a safe, supportive space. And then the group will have to respond and say, and first focus on what they think about the writing. This will not only involves having to read for the student, but also careful listening among the group members. This might, before the students can do this properly, they might need some scaffolding or help from teachers to respond, to teach them how to respond appropriately. So focusing on strengths and using, and maybe pointing out areas of improvement rather than things that were bad. As a school psychologist, I could easily use creative writing in group counseling. Oftentimes, we even do short stories, or we can do short stories based on either something that has happened, something that is bothering them, and I do some just social support groups. So this would be a good place for that, in which students can write their stories, and it'll be helping to develop skills in orthography, but we can also be talking about things that come up in those stories: social interactions, emotions, expected or unexpected behaviors. Pragmatics is the study of language in context, and I think that this is one of the most, is the area of linguistics that I think ties most into practice as a school psychologist, because we often, or I, in my experiences, have often worked with students who have difficulty with social interactions, whether that be because they can't interpret a social situation correctly, if they don't know how to respond appropriately, they don't know what's being asked of them, they can't express their own emotions well. So this is a lot of the students I work with. It can sometimes be with autism spectrum, but it doesn't necessarily have to be that. So one idea that came directly from the reading is the idea of mood cards, in which we show the students different moods that are on the card, and we would ask the student to simply talk about the mood cards. So it would be a person in the picture, and we would ask, how's the person in the picture feeling? How do we know? So this would be for more of the low functioning students that we might be working with. For higher functioning students, dialogues about the pictures can be increased. So it's not going to be just, well, how is the person feeling? So we might even ask, well, what prompted this feeling? Or what's going on with others, if we get more complex pictures, how are other people interacting with this person? Are they showing interest? Are they not interested? Another I have used in the past is using video clips with younger kiddos to talk about nonverbal cues and how those cues can inform how the person's feeling and how we might want to react. So this can be done with simple videos from YouTube, and these are some that I have used in the past. So Kung Fu Panda is always a favorite, and then we have The Little Mermaid and also Elf. A lot of kids like to talk about Elf. So in each of these, so we would have the clip, it would be played so they can see the social interaction, what's going on in the background, how others are responding, and then throughout that clip we might pause it in specific spots and ask, well, so for instance in the top right we have Ariel, so how is Ariel feeling right now? And the kiddos might respond, well, she's feeling surprised. And I would ask, how do we know that? What on her face might tell us that she's surprised? So her eyes are wide, her mouth is open, her eyebrows are bridged, her hand is in the air. So looking at those nonverbal cues can inform how she's feeling. And then I might play the clip and see, well, in that clip, I think her father was there. So how did he respond to those cues? And that's all. Thank you guys for watching.